that's rocking the whole sports world right now. Because I done had the monitor on the whole show, and they're not talking about anything but Penn State. But before we do that, I'm going to let y'all know that this last segment of the night, is brought to y'all by Stitcher Smart Radio. You can now hear our show, The War Room, on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your computer, your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones. And like Jimmy said last week, if y'all got a BlackBerry or a Palm phone, kill yourself. The latest episode is always available for you, no syncing needed, and no memory or storage wasted. Downloading is easy. Click on the Stitcher logo on our website and listen or download to your mobile phone directly from that page. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. All right, y'all. We're going to just freestyle this conversation. I mean, I got a couple of points we want to get to. We could talk about the timeline of events. We could talk about whether or not Joe Pa should have been fired. Will it tarnish his legacy, or should it tarnish his legacy? And that grand jury report, that 23-page report. I know Brandon read it because I saw you talk about it earlier. Did anybody read that report?
Yeah, I read it, John. It was hard for me to read. Like, it took me a long time because, it jumped me. Like, it was.
I couldn't
terrible,
finish, man.
It was graphic.
I couldn't get through it all.
Like, that report makes you think, like, can somebody really be this sick? Like, dude has serious problems.
Yeah.
He has serious problems. And if anybody wants to start off with their feelings on this whole situation, go ahead and be my guest. I know I can just start off by saying that this whole thing just seems like it happened because Penn State was trying to look out for Penn State. And even now, with them firing Joe Paterno and trying to, cut ties with anybody who might have had the slightest bit to do with it, Penn State, they're doing the same thing they did to get into it. They're looking out for themselves. And so do y'all think Joe Pa deserved to be fired for this?
I mean, at this point, where it's at, like, everybody that had some part in this has to go. Yeah. I mean, it's a complete outrage that this was even allowed. I mean, Mike McCreary actually seen this guy performing an act on a child in the shower. He didn't stop it. He didn't say anything. He walks out, calls his father. They didn't call the cops. They go tell Joe Paterno. They didn't call the cops. I mean, now, they go to the athletic director, the president. They didn't do anything. Like, it went from a chain of command, and nobody did anything.
And the athletic director, the reason that they're on trial for perjury is because they're even trying to downplay what it is exactly that McCreary and Joe Pa told them. They're saying, we never really got the thought that anything sexual was going on. We thought it was like just some horse playing in the shower, so we told him he could no longer bring kids onto the campus. So they just didn't take it seriously from day one, or they just tried to kick it under the rug from day one and then go tell the grand jury that that's not how we heard it. So
they're a state institution, and they have a responsibility to keep kids and young adults safe. So if there was anything that came out about a 60-year-old man playing red light, green light in a shower with a 10-year-old boy, then they should have investigated that no matter what. And I think what makes it bad with Joe Pa, obviously he wasn't the person committing the acts, but once he knew about what was going on, and then they later saw the same guy on campus, around the team, in subsequent years after, with kids, Joe Pa should have been like, obviously he should have went to the cops, but at least he should have at least tried to figure out a little bit more about what's going on. Like, all right, I heard that you were raping the boys, and now you're still with these little boys, and I know what your foundation is about. So, like, you gotta explain something to me, like, what's going on here? Like, I think, like you said, Dad, it was trying to protect Penn State at any cost, and the victims just fell short. Like, these little boys who were going to be tainted for the rest of their lives, they just fell short. I mean, it was just because they were up against the establishment of Penn State.
And they're up to like 20 victims that's come out, so it might be more than that at that point.
Here's my thoughts. My thoughts are kind of like all over the place because as more information comes out, it just changes. But it's like the one thing I do want to say is, as we're hearing this information, we're hearing it like years later in the aggregate all together, so it sounds different than when Joe Pa heard it. Now, I'm not trying to take up for Joe Pa, but I looked up the law in Pennsylvania, and he's not a teacher or anything. So by law, it wasn't his duty to report. His duty is to report to the athletic director, who's to report to the president. The president, by law, has to report it to law enforcement where it didn't happen. This is an epic fail on so many levels. McCreary went and called his pop. Yo, what are you doing? Like, he was like a 28-year-old graduate assistant at that point. He should have beat the snot out of the dude. Like, what are you doing? I mean, so many people fail. I mean, at the end of the day, they're making this about Joe Pa, and they're not even – these people are rioting and acting fool, but what about the victims of this? Like,
that's
Joe
exactly
Pa,
my thing. I kind of think Joe Pa, like we all said, on a moral level, Joe Pa could have done more. Like Jimmy just said, with the actual rules of being in the collegiate atmosphere, he's not obligated, so he's not really obligated by law. He can't get in trouble lawfully for not going to the police. He did what he was supposed to do. The reason people hold him to a higher standard, whether it's fair or not, because in some areas I don't think it's fair, because sports is the biggest thing to everybody outside of the university. I mean, it probably is inside too. Everybody looks at Joe Pa as being the top guy at the whole university. Like nothing should go.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Exactly. So people are holding him to a higher standard when he actually did what he was supposed to do. But I think it's a lot of details in this that haven't come out yet, because there's some reason that everybody's going down and McCreary still gets to be out on the sideline this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. And also, think about it. The more stuff that comes out, the worse it looks. And when you think about Sandusky, he was able to retire, right? Now, he retired at 55, which is like the prime years of a coach. He is the architect behind what they call linebacker U, the scheme that they run at Penn State, which, produced so many great linebackers. And he retires at 55 and never coaches again on no level. It's sort of like they knew something was up, and it's like they wanted him to go away.
But remember, he was supposed to be the heir apparent to Joe Paterno, and then all of a sudden, Joe Paterno tells him that you're not going to get this job. So a year later, he retires. And that was even in the grand jury testament, because one of the victims were privy to this information. Sandusky told him, not to mention that to anybody. So
it looks fishy. It does look fishy, but people were going off on Joe Pa. Like, I do think that he has a little bit of the blame from a moral standpoint, and I hate to judge anyone's morals because it's really hard to do that. But the thing is, the way people were going off on him,
I think they're making it too much about him.
Yeah, and you know what it is? When people get angry, they look for someone to blame, and he's the guy. He is Penn State. So when the people get angry because no one likes to hear these kind of stories, he's going to get the blame because he's the face of Penn State. But with that being said, people out there have to understand that he didn't hear the story the way we're hearing the story. The guy actually told two different stories. Initially, what's the guy's name? The one that kept his job. First he says they were horsing around. Then he says dude was getting sodomized. It's like he changed his story a couple times. He probably felt uncomfortable saying what he saw. That's probably what it was. But it's like Joe Pa, I heard someone who changed the story. He did what he was supposed to do. Now, should he have done more? We all agree that he should have done more. But to, make him out to be this evil guy, people are making it seem as though he condoned this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, B. You was about to say something?
Yeah, all this, none of this would have happened back in 1998 if the district attorney would have tried to prosecute him then when one of the boy's mothers, the boy came home, Van Dusky dropped him off. He come in the house with wet hair.
Wet hair.
How's your hair? Oh, me and Terry took a shower together. The district attorney had the information. The boy told his mom what happened. Sandusky was fondling the boy in the shower. The police eavesdropped on a phone call and heard Sandusky admit to what he did, apologize for it, and they refused to prosecute the guy. See, the whole problem out there, the whole problem out there state colleges, it's like football and Joe Paterno and stuff is bigger than life, and it's like, you know, they didn't want to tarnish the school stuff, but nobody cared about these kids, you know what I mean, being done dirty, and if they would have prosecuted this man in 98, none of the stuff that happened in the years afterwards would have never happened.
Right. And Naran just made the point in the chat room that he said basically what you just said, Brandon. He said that Tom Corbett should have prosecuted him in 98. That's why Tom Corbett, for those in Pennsylvania, he gave a press conference today, and he's the governor. So it's like, why is the governor speaking on this? Because he was in charge in 98. And he could have prosecuted
because he know he might be next. He know he might be next on the list of people.
The ball was dropped by so many people. I mean,
inside
it's
and outside
amazing.
of the university. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. The ball was dropped by so many people. The victim number 6, his mother, instead of going to the cops, goes to the university police.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, they have jurisdiction there on that campus. They're just as good as real cops. So they really, it's up to them to do something about it too. But like Brandon was just saying, man, football is so big in that town that people inside and outside the university rather drop the ball on this because they don't want their beloved program to get in trouble. Now, I got a little insight for y'all. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all probably heard all the information too, but as to why, now I'm not justifying it. I'm telling you why he might not have said anything. But McQuarrie, he grew up with Sandusky's kids. You know, they played Little League softball together. You know, so they were close friends of the family. So, you know, if I'm not being totally hard on the dude, I can kind of understand why he went to his pop, because he's like, Pop, you know, I saw your homie in the shower with a kid, but at some point, that's the kind of act, you just can't protect the dude, man. Somebody has to tell somebody, you know, of authority about what's going on. I mean, and they tried to pass it up the chain of command, and once it got past Joe Pa to the guys above him, that's when the ball really started to get dropped. Because, I mean, that's why they're under indictment for perjury now, because they're trying to deny that they even heard it in a certain way. So I just think it's a lot of details that's going to come out.
It's crazy because, Brandon, you brought up a great point about the prosecution. The ball was dropped so many places. It's hard. It's like there's so much blame to go around. Like, people just saying that it's all Joe Pa's fault. That's what I'm like, huh? How is it all his fault? There's so much blame to go around with this story. And I'm not one of these Joe Pa protectionists who think he should have been. He should be gone. First of all, he should be gone because he could have collected Social Security 18 years ago. But that's beside the point. But I'm just saying that, you know, it's like they dropped the ball in so many places. I mean, this is just ridiculous. PJ,
I can't front like I don't feel sorry for Joe Pa. I mean, come on, you gotta have. He's a really, really old dude. So like, if you don't feel sorry for babies and old people, then something wrong with you. But I just pictured last night. I could just picture he and his wife like in the house crying together. You know what I'm saying? When he found out that he was fired. In some instances, I kind of think he was being scapegoated because they tried to get Joe Pa to step down years ago, and he wouldn't do it. So they might be looking at this as an opportunity. Like, okay, we have the opportunity to move on. Okay, we're going to tarnish this man's legacy in the process, but at the same time, we got to move on. But there's some reason that McQuarrie's like the nobody in the whole thing, but the nobody's getting more protection than anybody else.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And like you said with McQuarrie, it's hard to say. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, he grew up with Sandusky's son, or whatever, so he knows that family. But like you said, if he was to walk in, like a lot of us can't say what we would do, like if you walk into that situation, as surprised as you would be. Like to see one of your dad's friends sodomize on a 10-year-old boy, like you would probably be so shocked. Like some people might, you know, go and try to beat him up or confront him. So he ran and told his dad. So that's what he did. Okay, that's fine. But after that, and I guess it did go up the chain of command, But after there's knowledge of knowing that nothing really happened to him, I would start wondering, like, man, maybe I should go to the cops directly because this dude is sick to be doing that, and who knows how many kids he did that to.
Because after you see that, the information had to come out that, okay, he's been under investigation for this before. Maybe I should say something before any other kids get hurt, you know. Yeah. But I'm speculating, fellas. So this isn't knowledge.
It's all speculation. I'm wondering too. You know what else I'm thinking?
Yeah, I'm speculating. I'm thinking. You might be about to say the same thing I'm about to say. Go ahead, say that.
No, I'm just saying about McQuarrie. The only thing I'm thinking about McQuarrie is that I wonder, does he know more than is still even coming out, and that the university or people know him is his. The fact that he still has his job and the promotions that he's received since this time period, is it like hush money? Is that like a hush money promotion?
Think about the job he got in the first place. He sees a kid getting anally raped in the bathroom, and then he is on the staff all of a sudden. He goes from grad assistant to assistant coach. Yeah. But I'm thinking, he must know more. And my speculation, my antennas are telling me, since they are close family friends, I'm wondering if Sandusky didn't molest this dude when he was young. Because there's something that he knows that's keeping him from getting in trouble. Like, I don't get it. Right. And the listeners out there, like I said, that's just my speculation. So nobody go running saying y'all heard some information that he was, getting McQuarrie when he was a young buck. That's just me. But there's something more to the story that we're going to find out. You got some news?
Some breaking news. I was just reading across the timeline on ESPN. The board, they're not going to ask McQuarrie to step down. He, for now, going to keep his job, and they actually want him to coach from the press box instead of the sideline. That's fair for his safety.
That's for safety, yeah. I don't get it, man.
I really don't understand.
Like,
everybody goes down except for the person who witnessed it. And like, isn't he guilty under one of those Good Samaritan laws? Remember the Seinfeld, John, when they didn't help the boy that was getting robbed?
Real quick, did y'all know Rank Top 5 brought up a point about how powerful Joe Pye is up there? The athletic director, Joe Pye used to coach him. That's how long Joe Pye's been a coach at Penn State.
He's been a coach at Penn State for 60 years. 49 of them, he was the head coach.
Dude he reported to used to be one of his players.
No, that's crazy. Everybody. Joe Pye was coaching when cats like Dean Smith were freshmen in college.
Joe Pye was coaching not only before I was born, before my mother was born. We got homie on the line. A homie want to come on and say something real quick. I'm gonna take this call real quick, y'all. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Naeem, what's good, homie?
What's going on, y'all? What's up, Warren? I just want to touch one subject on this Penn State whole thing with Joe. First of all, I feel bad for a good legacy that's going down the toilet.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, I'm not taking up for him. I'm just telling you the way we all are men. And this man is 80 years plus, okay? He followed the code of ethic that he was trained since day one. He's been in the system, like you said, since my dad has been alive. And you got to understand their mentality. He followed the chain of command like he was taught from day one. You go to the president. 80 years old plus, he's kind of senile and dimensional, I think, by now. No, seriously. Seriously.
Yeah, no, he really is.
And so they really got a break by getting him out of it, because I don't think they'll be able to get him out. And two, the guy Query, something is more than enough. Because everybody should have went down. Nobody should have their job on that whole staff. That was around at the same time.
If Joe Pye is as big as people make him out to be, if he goes down, of course everybody got to go down.
Everybody goes down.
The thing is, like the broadcast I said in the chat room, if you're McQuarrie, why would you even want to work there anymore? Like, your safety, you shouldn't even want to work there no more.
Yeah.
I don't know
because if you got students.
I was starting to read that grand jury report, and it made me sick. I stopped reading.
Hard to read, ain't it?
It was just too graphic. It was too much graphic, and I'm like, are y'all serious? Like, y'all allowed this to go on?
That's why you don't want nothing in your life to go to court, because every gruesome detail, anything you do is coming out in court. So
Yeah, but that's why I just had to touch on that. I mean, I feel bad for Joe and his family, but on the same token, it's like I'm like tossed up in between. Like, damn, you know, like.
Yeah. He could have said
what
something.
more could he do? I mean, he could have said something, but then again, I'm looking at his age. You know what I mean?
I don't think Joe Pa's called a play since like '92.
It depends, though. It depends on when he knew this kind of stuff, because we're talking about right now. In 1998, he wasn't, he was old, but he wasn't this old.
Oh, okay.
So 1998, and he did kind of force Sandusky into retirement suddenly. So after that happened,
but 98,
he might have known something.
98, he's still 70 years old. And that's when the man should start kicking in.
Joe Pa old as hell.
All right, well, thanks for your call, man.
All right.
All right, man.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's kind of unfair because no matter how it is, okay, we look at it from the outside and we know that Joe Pa is the biggest thing in that whole city, let alone the university. But it might be a thing, he might know what he is, but when things go down, he might do the chain of command like he's supposed to. So,
yeah, in our chat room, they're reporting that Naran said that the officials feared for Nebraska's safety at Penn State this weekend.
Well, Nebraska
safety?
Yeah, I mean they come in to play the game, so they fearing for their safety now. Like it's
going to be the highest rated college game of the season, and
it's
probably going to be uneventful.
Game.
Yeah, everybody going to be up watching this. They mess around and move it prime time.
Yo, and the thing is, Penn State actually had a good season this year.
Yeah,
no.
They the worst 7-1 I've ever seen, but
hey, but they are 7-1.
But they are what their record is.
They are. They'll lose the last 3 games.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I mean, at this
they got like Ohio
State.
State.
They got Nebraska, Ohio State, and
they got an excuse now, though.
Another Big Ten game, I think.
Yeah. They got a good excuse.
In Wisconsin.
Yeah,
they're gonna get smacked by Wisconsin. They might get doubled up.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't, like, at this point, football don't even matter. Like, I mean, I was on Twitter the other day, like, I mean, my whole week, like, been messed up. College basketball started this week, and I'm supposed to be in heaven, and, like, this is all I can think about.
Right.
Like, I mean, I got kids. Like, I mean, I got 4 kids. I got 3 boys. Like, I can't even imagine, like, I mean, the coaches from the teams that my kids play for doing something like that to my children, man. Like,
exactly. Those are the guys that you're supposed to be able to trust. Those are the guys that you think are, like, helping you raise men. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Man, it's like up there.
This dude doing the whole opposite of that. Like,
any of y'all have been up to the campus before?
No, I haven't been to Maine.
I've been there before, yo. It's like, and y'all gonna think I'm crazy when I say this. It's like people are brainwashed up there. It's sort of like living in Mayberry, except they have football. It's like, it's crazy, and I think that's part of the problem with this whole thing. Joe Pa is larger than life up there, but it's like, it's nothing but Penn State. And I think that could be a part of the reason why he said, I'm going to call my pop, and, he didn't run to the cops right away. Some of them people are, like, brainwashed, like, yo, I'm,
you know what, too, Jim? It's a small town, like you said, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard today between 80 to 90% of that town is employed by Penn State University. So everybody has a connection to that school in some way. And obviously Joe Paterno, like you said, is bigger than life. I mean, he's been there so long. He's he's the Nittany Lion. The Nittany Lion is there, but Joe Paterno is the real mascot of that football team. And it's a football school, and Joe Paterno is the mastermind of it. Even though now his mind ain't so masterful, but I mean, he built that whole reputation of that school. So it's like idol worship.
And that part of that is the reason why he's going down. Like I said, I don't think he's all to blame, but the fact is, like you say, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and in that guy's eyes, once I tell Joe Pa's going to handle it, because Joe Pa.
So what does this do? What does this do to his legacy? Because we got the homie Kevin Lang on the Facebook page, and I just had to tell him, because this is how he's answered the question all week. He's come on like 3 times, and all he wants to keep saying is, Joe Pa should lose his record, and Eddie Robinson this, Eddie Robinson that, ran a clean program. First of all, you don't know what the hell Eddie Robinson ran. Unless you're his assistant coach, you don't know what Eddie Robinson ran. And comparing Grambling to Penn State is silly talk. Calm down.
A couple things. And B, Brandon, now Rand said to tell you to stop hating on the Lions. You've been hating on them all season anyway. Or who? The Nittany Lions.
Man, tell Nate Rand to cut it out, man.
And we have another comment. We have a comment by Fender Bass in the chat room. He said, Joe Pa is simply old school and believes in keeping things in-house. He's loyal and not a tattletale like this generation of cowards. Right or wrong, Switzer would have done the same thing, and I guess that's why he doesn't coach anymore. So, you know, people are defending Joe Pa.
This is kind of different, though. I'm not calling it a tattletale when this dude is victimizing kids. And mind you, Fender Brass, I'm not one of the people that's blaming Joe Pa. I really think, like we said earlier, that they're making this too much about him. The name you hear the least, that you've heard the least all week was Sandusky. And he's the monster in all this. He's the monster in all
this. About it. He went off Pulp Fiction on these little boys, and you don't hear nothing about him. It's sort of like Ray Top 5 said, he got out and they had pictures of him, working out with his wife in the gym.
Yeah, it's just crazy with everybody. I mean, but when you're a big figurehead, and I don't know, somebody has to take. I guess they're figuring this isn't. I mean, it's a big story regardless, but the story doesn't have the kind of legs that it has 24/7 for the last 5 days if Joe Paterno's name isn't thrown around in it, every other minute. So, and I'm still asking because nobody can answer why the hell McCreary is still on this coaching staff. He witnessed.
Didn't Joe Pa just break the record?
Yeah, Joe Pa broke the record 2 weeks ago.
Do you think they're waiting for the record for us to hit? Right? Do you think they're waiting to break the record for us to hit?
Last game.
Do you think they let him break the record before they put it all out there?
I don't know. It could have been. But you know what? There's another record this week in store. I think it's how many games you actually coached or something like that. But,
if he coached this week, then he'd have broke that record for most games coached. I think it's 549 games.
Right.
Who the hell got that record?
I don't know. I know if he doesn't, who the hell? Dude must have been playing in a league that played 3 times a week.
Damn.
Some guy with a hyphenated name.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, man, I feel sorry for Joe a little bit because, like you were saying, Dad, with his age, man.
Yeah.
I feel like he's so demented at this point, man. They talking to him. He said, I got the kid, and then I got that. I'm like, that my man can't even finish his sentences, man. The dude came and gave him an envelope, said he'll call his number. They tell you, look, you fired Joe, and I like, man, his wife and them came out on the porch. They was crying. I said, oh, man, I can't even handle all this, man. Poor, you know what I mean? Joe Paterno, I don't know. I get, man, that's tough. One thing is this. It's a tough way for his legacy to end. To go out with a sex scandal, and he been coaching in 50 years, to go down with a sex scandal, that's awful, man.
And it's crazy because that, taints his whole legacy, and it's none of us would want to be judged by our worst decisions for the rest of our lives. But that's pretty much.
And I don't think people are being fair because they're saying, well, we don't think Joe Pa is saying the right things. You know what I'm saying? He's not putting enough emphasis on the kids. But like Peter just said, I don't even know if he knows what he's saying from minute to minute.
Joe Pa don't know what year. He don't know what year it is.
And I think they're going too deep into what he's saying on camera. Okay, maybe let him, because I'm pretty sure now that he's gone from the university, there's nobody to tell him that he can't have a press conference to clear his name. If I was him now, that I don't have Penn State to protect anymore, I'm doing something to clear my name. I'm going to tell people what I know.
We got an answer to that question, by the way, y'all. In the chat room, Brochery Nine says that Amos Alonzo Stagg has the record, and they must have played double headers back then.
They had to play double headers, man.
Amos Alonzo.
Amos Alonzo Stagg. He said he played ball. He played college ball with Joe Pa back in the 1880s.
These boys play with red grains.
Yo, man, that's crazy how long he's been there, man. At least somebody else will get a job. Another question, before we get off this for the show ends, the future of the program, because I was looking online today, and some top recruits have already took Penn State off their list. Yeah. What is that going to do for their program moving forward? Because how can you go sit in someone's living room and say, we'll take care of your son up here, and y'all let rape go down up there? I mean, more or less.
It's not a good job right now. Like, how they going to get a big name coach?
Yeah, that's true too.
You already had to follow a legend before, but like I heard somebody saying earlier today, that wouldn't have been too difficult because it's not like he was winning, national championship after national championship. But the fact that he's been there so long, first you had to fill those shoes. Now you got to come here and rebuild a program that was brought down by nothing that had to do with football.
It's going to be Mike McCreary going to get that job, and you're not going to know why he's still. You don't really going to know.
Mike McCreary get that job.
How can he recruit, though? They're going to be like, ain't you the boy that saw it? Like, how he can't go recruit nobody?
That's what I'm saying. There's no way. There's no way he keeps his job. Like, there's no way he's going to send this guy into somebody's home. Like, the first thing, if I'm the father, the first thing I'm going to say to him is, like, you got some nerve coming to my house after witnessing what you did, and you didn't tell. So what makes you think I can trust my son to come to this school?
Yeah. Their program
you in my crib trying to eat my spaghetti and talk. Come on,
it's
dog.
crazy because the one thing they were trying to avoid in hiding this is pretty much what happened anyway. So it's like they could avoid it. All this could have been avoided. Like the ball was dropped so many times, and what they were trying to avoid happened anyway.
Right. I mean, but it's always like that.
With the media and the way things are reported, it's going to come out. It's going to come out eventually.
Yeah. I mean, and it didn't seem like the Sandusky dude, he was real sloppy about his. It's like those type of dudes, they're begging to get caught. He gets caught, but they don't, nobody pursues it. And that's
he was always getting caught too.
Joe Pa, that's the president of the school, the athletic director, and at the time, the district attorney. So it's like,
man, that dude is a creep, man. He gonna get dealt with once he goes to jail.
I read so many.
I hope he don't go to Greatersburg. I hope they put him in Greatersburg because he ain't gonna last long up there. He better.
Yeah, he going to go to Pennsylvania State Prison. Man.
Yeah. Then he better be in PC. He better be in protective custody.
Yeah,
they gonna have to.
Yo, what's gonna be crazy is if he get a jury of his peers up there, they might not even find him guilty.
You said might not find him guilty.
Yo, it's crazy to say that, but like real talk, like I'm telling you, people are brainwashed.
You never know. Up there,
people are brainwashed up there, man.
Own universe up there. You right. But yeah, that would be great.
The same world we do.
Man, they might as well go ahead and send them to the House of Corrections and let the boys from Johnson Homes doing dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, but he man, this dude was begging to get caught because if you're reading the grand jury report, how many times did he do this kind of stuff like in public places, like in the showers,
remember they said he was at the wrestling
in the wrestling, in the high school, in the gym in the high school. He's at in his car while his car's moving around.
Look at the picture that we have put in our Facebook page. We took it down because so many people got offended, but yo, the dude.
Yeah, that was from. That was actually
work, man.
That photo that we put up of him, like kind of being behind the boy, that was like a linebacker camp, and that was allegedly victim number 4. He did a video with him for this, and they did a photo shoot for Sports Illustrated, and that photo that we put up, I believe that's one of the joints from the shoot from Sports Illustrated. Damn. And he was like, right there, it looked like he was really trying to teach the dude how to play linebacker, but once you know what you know about the guy, his hands shouldn't be where they are because this dude is not genuine with what he was trying to teach. He was thinking other things, and he was because if you read that report, you know how nasty and foul that this dude really is.
Yo, the boy is so nasty. That's what's amazing to me, how nasty this dude was. Because, like I said, I couldn't get through it. Because that joint was making me cringe. I wasn't ready for all that, man. Like, this dude's sick. Like, that, he's sick. Like, there's something like, I don't understand the whole thing about why people keep preying on little boys either. Like, that the whole Catholic Church, I don't understand why these old men go after little.
Don't get us wrong, y'all.
Not
married, that saying they should be out there, finding
right,
little girls.
Exactly. No. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? It's wrong. It's rape. It's you should never, ever rape anybody, let alone a child. But it's just weird where that affinity for the little boys comes from, but that's a whole different.
Man, they got a chemical imbalance, man. They got a chemical imbalance. And anyway, man.
Wait, it's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.